Hi, good evening, everybody. The relationship between a mentor and a mentee is really very pure, and it's one of the most noble relationships ever. And it really gives the mentor a huge pride when their chosen mentees choose a particular path and try to walk that fearlessly. Presenting to you one such global leader who has defied a lot of things and has gone on to study both undergraduate and graduate in the US. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Manasi Shinde.
Hello.
Hi Mansi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
All good, all good. So nice to see you after a long time.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, it's been a while.
Absolutely, absolutely. I still remember the days when basically the mentor and the mentee used to talk, and the tutoring used to happen. It used to be a lot of fun, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Great, great,
For
great.
sure.
Absolutely. At the outset, thank you so much for honoring this,
Yeah, of course.
and I'm pretty sure your inputs will be more than will be more than useful to the students who are looking forward to pursue an education in the US,
I
right?
hope so.
Yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. It will be. So, without further ado, let's start it for the benefit of the students.
Mhm.
Obviously, this is a series which is like hashtag future global leaders. And how does it feel? How does it feel that you are starting off the series of future global leaders?
I mean, it feels great. It's honestly a privilege that you contacted me and wanted to like learn more about my experience, just like from the start and even now. And yeah, it's great that like my past experiences will probably help a lot of other students and it'll be useful. So yeah.
Awesome, awesome, great. So tell me, Mansi, what are you doing right now?
So currently, I'm working as a marketing analyst at a company called Dynatrace. And yeah, so basically, what I do is kind of a mix of marketing and analytics, more on the analytics side of things than marketing. So just basically looking at how campaigns are performing and just looking at the number side of marketing more than the creative side, I would say.
You always were into numbers, right? So you liked marketing, something into creatives and all. So
Yeah, yeah.
you're actually walking the talk. That speaks volumes about the dedication that you are showing in your work. No two ways about it. So can you also tell which college did you do your undergraduate from and then your graduation from?
Yep, sure. So I did my undergrad from the University of Texas at Dallas. And then for my master's, I went to Bentley University in Boston.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, how good was it to study at US? I mean, the undergraduate and the graduate. The reason I'm asking is because still you are a single girl child, so there are apprehensions in parents' mind about
Yeah.
how is the US thing about how is the situation there. How advantageous was it for you to study your undergraduate in the US and then complete your graduation?
Honestly, I think it was one of the best decisions that I made. I mean, I understand it was very difficult for my parents to kind of let me go, especially because I was 18 when I left for my undergrad. And I've never lived without my parents. So it was a big decision for everyone in the family, but it was definitely something that needed to be done. And now I can say it was definitely worth it because coming in at undergrad, I mean, I was young, but it kind of gave me that exposure to like learn how to do stuff on my own, just be a little more independent and, just become my own person. And yeah, and just like learn how to make decisions. And that eventually just made the master's program a lot easier because I wasn't dealing with getting used to the culture, or like the US in general, because I was done with that in my undergrad. And since your undergrad is 4 years, so you have a lot longer to adjust. You're also young, so you're more flexible. When you come for your masters, you're usually a little older. Um, so yeah, I think it was a great decision that my family and I made. And yeah, it was definitely worth it. Definitely gave me an edge over most people, especially in the master's program. Even when I was applying for jobs, I knew I had that edge because I had previous education in the US. I had previous work experience in the US. So yeah, definitely helped quite a lot.
Wonderful, wonderful. The confidence with which you are saying right now speaks volumes of the way you have progressed. Because I have seen you from the time of
Oh yeah.
undergraduation, and from then till now, you have matured into a fine young individual in all spheres of life. Um, uh,
Thank you.
yeah, what would have happened if, say, for example, your SAT score would have been lesser by 5 marks or lesser by 2, 3 marks per se?
Honest to be honest, my SAT scores weren't like the best, but that was also because I was just a bad test taker. Uh, but it, I mean, I guess it just wouldn't have, I don't know, it wouldn't have made that big of a difference for me, at least. I got into the schools that I wanted to get into. I loved the school I finally went to. UTD was a great school for me. I learned quite a lot, and it had all the majors that I wanted. It had all the classes that I wanted. So worked out for me. But yeah, I mean, personally, I don't think it makes too much of a difference with like 2, 3 marks here and there. But then again, it's like a personal thing.
Okay, I'll just rephrase it a little bit. Suppose now the SAT is on 1600. So a student who is scoring a 1450 vis-a-vis a student who is scoring a 1510. Where do you
Mhm,
see in today's scenario? You have been there for almost like 6 to 7 years now. So
mhm.
a student scoring a 1450 and a student scoring a 1510. Where do you see his college applications going?
Yeah, it'll definitely be a different set of colleges that you would apply to. Like the better the score, obviously your options for schools that you apply to are broader, more. You don't have to worry about your SAT scores. Lower the score, obviously your list of universities that you can apply to kind of goes down a little bit. And you have to be a little choosy with where you apply and stuff. So yeah, I think I know most colleges in the US have like a rough threshold of what scores they expect from their students. So yeah, I think that's the main thing. Like the universities that you apply to might change based off of that.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah.
Um, uh, I of late have come across certain news with respect to the STEM programs being modified. Some new courses are being introduced into the STEM. Yeah, sitting in here, yeah, we can Google the information. We can get what information we want. Obviously, there are a lot of people in here also who kind of do their research. But being in the US, you have come across, like you are there now, as I said, almost for
Mhm,
7 years. Any changes in that the STEM program has introduced, or anything that the reason I'm asking is because again there are many students for whom maybe math may be a little bit of a challenge. So
mhm,
they may not think of engineering right away. But
mhm.
having said so, they have some other skills and they want to look at some other programs per se. So and then the big question in the US predominantly is that if you are a STEM graduate per se, your chances of getting into
Yep.
the workforce is
Mhm.
faster, is easier. So any new
Yeah.
programs that you feel that you can talk about?
Yeah, I mean the US definitely has they've been offering a lot more STEM courses. Personally, I saw that when I was applying for undergrad, there weren't as many STEM courses available. Obviously, I was never into engineering or any of those sciences. I was always going to be someone who was going to go into like a business major. So I didn't have any STEM options in 2023, which is no 2013. Sorry,
Yeah.
2013, which is when I applied for my undergrad. And yeah, I had to take a non-STEM major. But then after 5 years, when I was applying for my master's, I saw there was a huge increase in the number of STEM majors available. Like my major, which is marketing analytics, it was a STEM major, which definitely helped me quite a lot, because then it gives you 3 years to work afterwards with a STEM OPT rather than 1 year, which is just really stressful. But yeah, definitely I'm seeing a huge increase in the STEM courses that are being offered. And STEM courses that are not just, engineering or like a bio or anything like that. The business section also has a bunch of STEM courses like financial analytics, marketing analytics. There's a bunch in like MIS. So there's a lot of options, especially for master students. And yeah, I can only see it going up from here.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, the students predominantly who come from a business background, and by any chance, if they kind of are not so conversant or so familiar with math and techniques, they can still look at business and MIS as one of the options wherein
Yeah,
they can apply in the STEM
sure.
programs.
I was never like a math genius. I was very average in math
But
throughout.
but you are the English topper of your school.
Yeah, true. But so yeah, like it was always like the arts and like the English and the history, geography, all of that was like my go-to. Math was, I was never bad at it, but I wasn't great at it. And I feel like if I can do a degree in marketing analytics, I think anyone can. It's not that math heavy. It's also, you have like a gazillion calculators that you can use, so it's a lot easier.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's actually the need of the hour per se, because like
Yes,
studies have evolved over a period of time, and
yes.
when you can get that option to kind of exercise what you want to do, I think that's really sounds great for
I
the future.
also think it's more than just math. It's also just learning new softwares and learning like coding and like stuff like that. And the professors here are great, so they know where each student is starting, and they're very good at like helping you personally as well as like as a part of the class. So I don't think it should, like, someone should shy away from a STEM degree just because they don't think they're not great at math.
Wow, this acting this actually hit the nail on the head perfectly, because like
Yeah.
I like as I'm like myself and Supraja ma'am, who we are teaching now students, and we realize that sadly because of COVID, the math skills of students have gone down drastically, and there's a big question mark on the future. But now, as you rightly pointed out, even they should not shy away from
Yeah.
STEM courses because they are afraid of math. That's a very
Yeah.
relevant point that you made. Nice, nice. Then what are the good experiences that you got while you are doing your undergraduate and your graduation?
I guess just overall, I think the education system in India versus here is a lot different. So that was a great experience. There's a lot of freedom here. So that's always great. And it's again, like the relationship that you have with your professors, it's a lot more open. So you can always, if you're struggling in a class, you can always go talk to your professor and work with your professor one on one. So that I always thought was really helpful. Other than that, just the schools, like the colleges and universities here, they give you a lot of exposure to other companies, like they have career fairs and stuff like that. So throughout your college journey, you can go to these events, get yourself in front of these companies, and just brush up your communication skills, your resume, all of that. And every in my undergrad and my grad school, I took compulsory courses which like work on your resume and basically just prep you for like the job interviews and job life. So that was always really helpful.
Great, great. Awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean like making you ready right from day one. I think
Yep.
that's what the culture predominantly is
Yep. Yeah. Like they
shepherding
make
you to.
us create a LinkedIn account. Like I had a LinkedIn account my freshman year of college, which is like I was 18 years old, and I've had it since. So that's always helpful.
Absolutely. I mean, LinkedIn at 18 is unheard of, but then absolutely.
Yeah.
Today's all like Instagram and everything per se, but yes, absolutely. That's really commendable.
Yeah.
Um, uh, Other than that, did you have any study abroad options in the US per se that when you are in your undergraduate? Because that's also I see something as a cultural exchange happening,
Mhm.
knowledge sharing happening, so a lot of things happening per se. Did you have any study
Yep.
abroad program?
I actually did. So in undergrad, I was a double major. So I majored in marketing and global business. Because I was a global business major, I had to, as a part of the curriculum, I had to do like an international experience. So I either could study abroad or I could work or like intern abroad. I actually decided to do an internship in Dublin, Ireland, which was a great experience for me because I lived in Ireland for I think around like 3.5, 4 months and worked there. So basically got exposed to, the work culture in Europe, how they work, how marketing is done there, what digital marketing stuff works there, how it's different from the US or how it's different from India, because I had done a few internships in India as well. So yeah, just that definitely helps. So like learning about the culture, learning how business is done there, learning how marketing is done there. That definitely has helped me throughout my job search journey. Just like being able to say, oh, I have international experience in the major places like Europe, the US, and India. So
Wonderful. So it's like an equilateral triangle that
yeah.
all sides are equal. That's perfect. That's very well done. Uh, uh, Certain students still are confused about like research assistantship, teaching assistantship. If you can just in very brief thing, if you can elucidate a little bit about uh, what exactly students should do if they are applying for RA, or what they should do if they're applying for a TA per se. Just like a brief thing, so that like what happens is that
Yep.
many I will not say counselors per se, but then it's like everybody has heard from different sources different things, so they're literally confused. But then since you have been there for quite some time and you have evolved in the education system over there, a little bit of elucidation on RATA application would be really helpful to the students.
The main thing that helps is just having that relationship with your professor. Start building that relationship when you're in that professor's class. Just make sure your professor knows you for all the right things, obviously. And yeah, just even after you're done with the class, obviously you perform well in the class. And then after you're done with the class, you maintain that relationship with your professor. And then when it's time, when you are like a junior or a senior, you can always have that conversation with your professor saying, hey, I would really enjoyed your class. I would love to be a TA or a RA. Yeah, I think the main thing that helps is first building that relationship with your professor from the start, and then just performing well in that class so the professor has that like confidence in you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Um, I have also heard and known from quite some time that the lectures in the US are kind of scattered. Like, say, for example, if you have a lecture on Monday morning,
Mhm.
or maybe say from Monday, like the first half, then there are chances that you may have your lectures in the on Tuesday second half. Is it true, or like is it like kind of a timetable kind of a thing? All
So the
three
good
matching.
thing about the US is you pick your classes. So let's say there is a class like Econ 101. Econ 101 will have multiple classes available. So there'll be one class that's Monday morning, one class that's like Tuesday afternoon, one class that's like Wednesday evening or something. So depending on what works for you, you can always plan it out and pick the classes accordingly. Me being me, I'm very heavy on planning. So before I registered for my classes, I always planned out what classes I'm taking for the semester and then planned out what times I'll be taking. I usually prefer taking morning classes because that way I'm just done with them. So yeah, I just planned accordingly and made sure all my classes were in the morning, or yeah, whatever works for you. If evenings work for you, then you can just select classes that are in the evening. But yeah, there are options for throughout the week, throughout the day, depending on the school that you get into, obviously. And then yeah, you get to pick whichever works best for you, which I think is great.
Absolutely. I'm like flexibility. This is kind of
Yeah,
what the
yeah,
students actually
it
want.
gives you all they give you all the flexibility you want, because like a lot of people work during the day, so they prefer taking evening or night classes, which is a great option, which is what I did in my graduate, like, master's program. I was interning during the day, so I took classes that started after 7 p.m. So it was great.
Wonderful. Also, some students and some parents still kind of they have some doubts with respect to scholarships. So,
Mhm.
if you can throw some light on when to apply for the scholarships, are there scholarships available at the master's level, or can the students get scholarships only at the undergraduate level? Is there a procedure to it?
From personal experience, I saw that there was more scholarships available for masters than for undergrad. Um, and I personally didn't apply to any scholarships. I just got selected for them. So I put in my application like anyone else, and then based off of your, scores, like your past work experience and just your overall profile, they usually offer you a scholarship upfront if you qualify for one. So yeah, for undergrad, I didn't really see as many from the schools that I applied to and I got in. I got a scholarship from one of them. For masters, I got a scholarship offer from all of the schools that I got into. So yeah, they're definitely more open for scholarships in the master's program because they're encouraging people to do their masters. Undergrad is something that kind of, everyone does it. So they're a little choosy when it comes to who gets it. But obviously, if you have a great resume, if you have like great scores, you will get one. And you can always email them and ask them for how you can apply or like how you can qualify.
Superb, superb. So yeah, I mean, like people here still think that, like, if you are availing a scholarship, it's really a great thing. And as you rightly pointed out, if you can email them and ask them, I mean, like, that makes their
Yeah,
job all the more easier.
yeah, you
Absolutely.
can always, even once you get a scholarship, you can always ask them if they can, like, do something else for you, if it's not meeting your expectations. But yeah, just not be greedy.
Absolutely, absolutely. True, true, true. Second thing, what I wanted to also like for other students to know per se, is that as a student, yes, obviously the life gives you a lot of opportunities and everything. Like there is there's a grass which is greener on one side, but
Mhm.
like what are some of the smaller, I can say, I will not say roadblocks or hindrances per se, but what are some of the things that students should little bit take care of? Like if they are coming to the US, I know it's a free country, there is freedom of
Yeah.
speech, everything is very much there. They pump in millions and billions of dollars into research, so that's very much there. Having said so, some of the parents are still maybe they're saying that my kid is still 17, 18, let him or her go for the masters. uh, unfortunately they see news that's supposed not to be seen per se. But is there any, like, you will say that couple of things that the student should be just aware of or should make a note of? Other than that, yes, obviously, like, we kind of tell students and pitch students to go to the US for their undergraduate and graduation because we have seen our own
Mhm.
students reach the pinnacle. Having said so, just one or two things that they should be mindful of.
Um, Honestly, nothing that like comes as like a major red flag, but it isn't easy. It's not easy coming to a completely different country by yourself, and like, you're starting a completely new life,
True.
especially in a place where you don't know anyone, and like it's a new place, it's a new environment, but it's 100% worth it. um, I would just say just being if you're on campus, you're usually very safe, because there are campus polices everywhere. It's if you're on campus, you're generally very safe. There's nothing you need to worry about. When you go out, especially if you're a master's student, obviously you don't generally live on campus. You probably live like outside. So just doing your research on the area that you're going to be living in, just having the resources about and like getting to know your surroundings, I think is a main one. And then just acting responsibly, I guess. Just being a little cautious with everything that you do. But other than that, I don't think there's any big like issues.
Yeah, you underlined two very important things: act responsibility and be a little bit cautious. I mean,
Yeah.
that's anywhere. I mean, like, even if you go from a city A to city B in India to study, you
Yeah,
have to be
exactly.
like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. That kills many apprehensions of parents who actually want to send their kids abroad. Um, uh, you have studied, now you're working. Throw some light on the work-life balance in the US.
Work-life balance, I mean, I think it's great. Again, it depends on the job that you're doing, the company that you're in. Luckily, I've been only working for companies that have given me that great work-life balance. I've never uh, worked like all night or anything like that. But then again, it also depends on what field you're in, because I know fields like engineering or even like financial reporting, those can be a little stressful.
Right.
So those jobs can be a little tasking, but generally US companies give a lot of importance on work-life balance. They encourage you to, go out, um, hang out with your co-workers, just have like dinners, drinks, something like that. So just they try to make the after work life like good for you as well and fun.
Great, great, great. Um, Also, one of the things I usually come across parents when we speak about education abroad, and then the job is about obviously the growth. I have seen over a period of time that yes, students do get a good growth once they show their potential to the employers. Employers go to the extent of even kind of sponsoring their green card, their like passport conversion, everything per se
Mhm.
is taken care of by the employer. So what fields do you see this happening? And by any chance, like, why I'm again asking this question is because this is predominantly people look at science, engineering, math, and obviously that flows. But what if
Mhm.
somebody is an art graduate, somebody who is graduated or done his masters in psychology, somebody who has done his masters in, say, um, financial uh, financial masters. So
Mhm.
do they also kind of, like, say for example, if an engineering graduate gets growth at every point, say maybe say 2 years, 1.5 years, 2 years, and he gets like X percentage, does the psychologist who has done his masters, or does a does somebody who is into a non kind of science kind of a field also get a similar jump in his or her chosen field?
Um, it's a tough one because it actually just depends. I personally have seen that STEM majors do get more preference. Just like right off the bat, you get to work for 3 years instead of 1 year. So the companies are more open to, invest in you.
Right.
So that's obviously there. But I think when it comes to like growth and how like you advance in companies, I don't think it has to do a lot with your major. I think it's more on how much work you put in, how you're helping the company, and then if the company actually sees that value in you. If a company sees that value in you, they won't think twice before investing in you, even if you have just a 1 year OPT. Because I was able to get a job when I wasn't a STEM major. I was able to get a job when I was a STEM major. So it's just it it all depends on you. It all depends on how much work you put in. I don't think like someone who is not like an engineer won't grow as much as an engineer. Obviously, an engineer has put in like more years, or like a medical student has put in
Yeah.
more years of like education into the process. So they might start a little higher, but it's nothing that you can't catch up to.
Superb. Also, I saw that startups are being given preference now, and like more and more graduates from, say, rich business households, they are kind of giving, or they have been given a platform to establish startups. So, do you see the growth there as well? And again, as I'm like the, a section of the students whom we teach are into business, and God willing, they
Mhm.
have all the resources where they can kind of establish a startup outside of India, especially in the US. So,
Yep.
how's that shaping up?
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunity for that for sure. I know there are a lot of colleges that offer courses that are for people who are looking to get into entrepreneurship and start their own business. So their whole degree is based on that. So, and I know there's a lot of visa options as well for someone who wants to start their business in the US. So yeah, I'm there's a lot of options. There's a lot of options for courses. There's a lot of options afterwards in terms of visa and opportunity. So if someone is interested in starting a business in the US, they should definitely look into it.
Superb. Uh, I would also want to know what is your future plan per se? Are you looking at PhD in some point in time?
I don't think so. Yeah, I'm happy where I am. I'm happy with how much I studied, and I think I in the field that I'm in, I don't need more education. It's more of a field where it's a newer field, so you're learning on the job.
Right.
And yeah, it's just I think I see myself being in the workforce for the future. But you never know. MBA might come along, but not no plans so far. So far, I'm just trying to increase my work experience and just learn in my job and just grow there.
Absolutely. So nice to hear about the future unfolding so beautifully for you. Um, a short, a brief about the experience that you had right from 2013, then in your GRE per se. I forgot to ask you, what was the GRE score per se?
It was 315.
Okay,
I
great, great.
think so. That was also long ago.
I understand. I understand. So you can just like throw some light on how has been the mentoring program, and like this is predominantly just like your experience per se.
Yeah,
How
I
was it?
mean, it was great. Honestly, I can't imagine me doing well in the GRE without your help. You were helpful from the start. It comes to the English part of it or the math part of it. You were great, just like helping with the little concepts, helping me with understanding, like the mental side of taking these exams, because they can be mentally quite challenging because you're sitting in a place for hours.
True.
So just, yeah, just like giving me tips and just like encouraging me to like keep doing better, just having that confidence in me, because I know I did like a gazillion practice tests and like the scores from the start weren't great. But just your, yeah, just your guidance throughout on what I should be doing, what I should be changing, and what will finally help me to get the score that I wanted. So yeah, I mean, yeah, wouldn't have gotten into my master's without your help.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Um, One last question about what would be your advice to students who are attempting their SAT right now or attempting their GRE right now? Any tips that you would want to give them with respect to their A, preparations, and B, their mental fortitude to come to the US?
Yep. Main advice I would give is do as many practice exams or tests as you can. Those really help me. They also like it's important to do them in the same atmosphere as like you would do the actual test. So I know when I did the SATs, they were 4 hours long. So I know they're not that long anymore. But yeah, just sitting in one place and finishing the whole test in that time frame, not just like getting out, getting food, getting drinks in the middle. So just so you mentally get used to being in one place and giving an exam for that long of a time. So yeah, giving those tests, making sure you're doing them at a stretch, and yeah, focusing on like your vocab. That really helped me. So the vocab words definitely helped me quite a lot. And yeah, just focusing on the little tips and tricks that you have on like even like math problems with the wordings on how to figure out what is what. That really helped. Yeah, those were the main things.
And anything on the mental preparation that they are like the batch of 2023 will now start their applications to the US, and
Mhm.
any particular tips that you would give them that they need to keep in mind for their applications?
Just try to have a cohesive application. Try to show that you can do stuff. You're good academically. You're good out of uh, like academics as well. So like show enough extracurricular activities. That's a huge thing in the US. Another big thing is like experience. I mean, for undergrad, I understand you're young. You don't have that much, maybe like do like a small internship here and there, like a 2 month, 3 month internship. Masters, of course, work experience is huge. So having that on your resume is a big one. So yeah, I think those are the main things, just showing that academically, and then your SAT and GRE, you have good scores, then extracurricular activities, and work experience. But I think those are the main things.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, Mansi. Thank you so much for your time. It was wonderful
Of
meeting
course.
you after a long time in person.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we should keep these sessions a little bit often so that uh, the camaraderie is still there, and I'm pretty sure it goes a long way. It's almost 10 years now that I've known you, and I've known your parents also for that quite long. And then yes, I mean, like, we keep in touch. There's no two ways about it. We definitely, I would definitely connect with you. And yes, anything per se, you all will be my go-to people in the US, go-to mentees in the US whom I
Yeah,
can
for
always
sure.
bank on. Right?
For sure. Yeah, always.
Great, great, great.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you. This was great.